Mediocre Rumble Brothers. 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome to Mediocre Rumble Brothers. I'm Jordan, your host, and the team Corey, Edwin, and Udon. Today we'll be having a gaming chat going over what we've played for the month. Let's start with Corey.
Okay, so I've been doing a lot of...
Man, there he goes.
Oh.
Cuts out immediately.
Really?
Wow.
Did I cut out immediately?
There's the bicycle,
Yeah.
and then...
Hold on. Yeah. Maybe it's my fucking pop filter or something. I gotta lean right into the mic.
Kiss it.
Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of gaming recently because I need, content for the long plays. So I've been playing.
Not because you find it fun, because you need it for content.
Well, it is fun as well, but I mean, it's kind of nice to turn on Onimusha 2 with the announcement of the remake coming, and they're going to bring a sequel in. So I'm gonna, keep going through that game. I know I've mentioned this before, but I'm about 2.5 hours into the game. I got another episode I have to record of playing it. It's kind of a nice little action game to sit down and play through, and since it's a PS2 game, it's not overly complicated, but I'm looking forward to kind of getting through that game, since it's just basically an action game, and I do enjoy action games. Speaking of which, I have 3 ARPGs that I've been playing. Final Fantasy Type 0, which I've owned for a while. I bought 2 copies of the collector's editions when they brought it to PS4, and I've opened one of them to give it a go. The other one I kept sealed. I started Lies of P yesterday. I played that for about Lies of Pi. I played it for about 4 hours. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I played the beta before, so I knew what to expect. But with the DLC kind of coming, I think that I would like to get through the game just to kind of prepare for the DLC whenever it drops. But the visuals are great. The level design's great. It's
You like it enough that you're going to buy the DLC?
I don't know how much the DLC is going to be, but probably. So far, I'm having a good time with it. It has a skill tree that I just opened up, and that kind of was surprising, just because I'm not used to that kind of leveling system in a Souls-like game. But it's a breath of fresh air, I suppose, just because I do enjoy skill trees in games, because I can kind of navigate a better build that way than just kind of pick a weapon and go with it. All the weapons are customizable with handle and blade, I guess. So there's a lot of cool stuff that I'm finding out about the game, and look forward to diving into it more. I wanted to get through the tutorial area before I got some footage of it, so I can kind of get I guess some better action and some better location, rather than just the beginning of the game, because I know a lot of people have seen the beginning of the game in general. So there's that one. Cry Machina is another one. Very anime game from this Nippon Ichi Software. I like it. I like the art style. It's really cool, really clean. The character designs are really good, and it's fun to play. I mean, the story's kind of convoluted, but it is a JRPG, ARPG, so I'm sure it will sum up to the gotta kill God at some point, but it's fun to play, and so that's kind of nice. And then I got myself a little game called Made in Abyss. It's based on the manga series, and I've been reading the manga series, and I've been very much enjoying it. And so I wanted to get the game and kind of just fuck around in the world that is. It has follow the story of the manga, or there's an original story. So I made a character do the original story, and it's kind of fun to just kind of dive in. I know you guys were watching me play it the other day, where I was just attacking a shitload of squirrels with a knife, and so if that's any picture painted, I'm looking.
Well, it seems like a
more of that.
really punishing game, and I haven't I've been aware of the manga series existing, but based off the game and the rules of the universe, seems like something I'd be interested in looking more into when I have the time.
Yeah, I think that the exploration is kind of balanced, because a lot of go get shit, bring it back games are based solely on a huge timer, but this is basically explore as long as you can, as long as you have food and you can carry it. You can just kind of keep going. You don't have like a 30-minute timer or else situation. It's more about how fast you can get back to the surface, because that's where the curse of the abyss kind of gets you. So you have to kind of approach that a little differently.
Does it
But
have a big map for that game?
oh yeah, it's a huge map. I was playing it the other day, just by myself off camera, and I got the bow and arrow. I went to go explore some other areas to find bigger monsters, and the birds are kind of a pain in the ass because, well, they're birds. They can just navigate straight to you without having to like run around the trees and shit. So, and
the
they can
butterflies,
really
killer
get you while you're
butterflies.
yeah, killer fucking butterflies. But the hummingbird things, like you're climbing a rope and they can just get to you way faster. I mean, you can still attack while you're on it and everything, but um, it's fun. It's funny because it's just like very deceptively adorable what it is. Like I've fallen off of a cliff and just splattered all over the ground. It's like, oh Jesus.
That's that good old Madoka Magica kind of setup where it's like you think you're in for one thing when it turns out to be something completely different, or at least a lot
Yeah.
better than initially it seems.
I mean, oddly enough, that kind of is what drew me to read it in the first place. Is I kept seeing like videos on YouTube, like, oh, this is like this, top 10 like messed up animes and blah blah, and it kept coming up, and I was like, huh, well, maybe I'll read it. And I think I'm 15 chapters away from the end, and it's super dope so far. So finish it. I mean, it's the same thing where it's like Corpse Party was something that I kind of was drawn to because people were like, "This is really screwed up," but it's like, what? This looks like kind of adorable anime characters, and then it's like, oh Jesus, I'm like, okay. So I kind of like the contrast in like visual style versus like the tone of the manga. And then last, or at least last, more recent, I got a game called Unsold, which is a top-down pixel art style, I guess Hyperlight Drifter type of game. That seems pretty interesting. I'll probably get some footage of that as well. I played through the tutorial of that for about I think the first hour or something on Switch. That's another one that feels really good to play. I mean, it has a dodge roll. I don't consider it a Souls-like because of that, but it does have that like
Does also have a stamina bar.
not necessarily. It has like some weird like chaining moves, so you can like jump around to enemies like I was going. So I feel like its combat is more like action based and less like slowing you down because you're doing too many things. It's just upon successes you can kind of keep it going. So I mean, I would definitely compare it more to a Hyper Drifter style game rather than like a Souls like game. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of stuff. I've been kind of keeping busy. Going to start up doing some other content for the YouTube channel as well. I got a few demos lined up. Earlier, I played Twisted Tower, which is a Bioshock-esque Disney Wonka scary game, like
Wait, that's
kind of
out
thing.
already?
No, I played the demo of it. They released the demo. I played through that and put it on our channel, which it has a pretty decent view count for been posting, so that's kind of nice. And
I wanted to do about it.
I wanted to do more like no commentary, long plays, and I wanted to do some plays where I kind of just go through the game with my first impressions and share my thoughts on it and stuff like that. So I'll probably start doing some of those.
Well, with your hobby of just like looking at random fucking demos, you're doing a service to people by people who will look at it. It's like, but I don't want to spend the storage space or anything that to look it up. So just playing them so everyone else can see them without them having to deal with it. You're providing a service to the people.
Yeah, I mean it's nice because I think that it'll be like valuable information too that some people hear, especially if it's the person that's making it, whatever.
Edwin, look at the game. Look at the game I'm playing. Look what I found.
Keyblade.
Not a Keyblade.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Use it.
Yeah.
They really do move.
Sorry, we have Undermine going in the background because we have short attention spans.
But outside of that, I think I've been fairly busy, so I will pass the torch over to Edwin.
So I played several amounts of games. I think the first one I played this month was the Tomb Raider, which is our game of the month, and I played it for around 2 hours. Mostly because like the first few levels were a little short, a little bland, not really big puzzles. And then I spent the next whole hour on this one area because it took forever. The one with the waterfall, and then you suddenly get into the dinosaur area.
And
But,
suddenly dinosaurs.
yeah.
Would you believe me if I told you that near the end of the game you fight zombie centaurs?
What? Okay, wasn't expecting
Sounds real.
Okay,
no,
because after saying that, I was like, I'm just thinking, I was like, yeah, it's just a casual, like, regular adventure game, not like super actiony like Uncharted, which I've seen videos of. It's just like, well, now that there's like zombie centaurs at the end, now it just doesn't sound like that anymore.
I do know that the secret boss is in that game is a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
No, that's just a regular boss.
Yeah,
you just fight them at the third level.
Oh, so what did it take you like a day to kill?
He's like, oh shit,
it took forever because I missed a shotgun that I was supposed to pick up. So I was just fighting with dual pistols. Thank God there's unlimited ammo, otherwise that would have been impossible. But I brought it down to like a quarter of its health before I realized that I'm supposed to aggravate it into the wooden spikes on the wall, and it would just take huge damage. So that took a while and 2 deaths. But I died more by the raptors outside than I did from the T-Rex. So that was a little annoying.
Yes, good old raptors.
I got
cave
really frustrated.
Cave raptors. You got to be careful about cave raptors.
Well, I mean,
I'll save it for the end of the month, but I will tell you that game is just chock full of instant death bullshit. It's just a staple of the game. It's not a good staple, but that's just the thing that happens in Tomb Raider a lot. Quite frankly, it's kind of hilarious. I don't think unless you're like a god of reflexes and actually playing the game, that anyone can play through that game the first time they've ever played it without dying at least once.
I died plenty of times, mainly because I can't fucking understand the controls, and she won't face the direction off the cliff. But I keep falling into an abyss.
So are you playing the PlayStation one?
I'm playing the PlayStation 2 one, the anniversary one.
Oh, you're playing the better one. Okay.
Yeah, supposedly better one because I'm.
I'm sure it's 100 times better. Bullshit. Yeah.
Maybe
I seen Corey play the original. It just looks like the Mummy game, which is really funny.
Well, no, the original is really good. I mean, I was playing the original myself. What made me stop is that the PS1 original PS1 only has limited saves. Like, there's these crystals that you have to use to save your game, whereas like the PC version, I'm pretty sure anyone after it you can save whenever you want. And in a game that's full of instant death bullshit, I am not pulling what's left of my hair out trying to fucking beat the game.
Oh, that's why that's why you hate it so much.
I love the game, actually. I mean, I'll save most of this for the end of the month. Sure. It's just like that particularly, like I'm debating honestly right now whether or not to drop to $30 just to get the new remastered version, which was the entire inspiration to doing that in the first place. But, yeah. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, so I've been playing I was playing Tomb Raider. I only played it for that one instance for like the 2 hours. I don't remember how many levels I got through, but maybe it was like 4 or 5 because one of them was just like super short and I barely did shit. So I kind of lost track after all that. Then afterwards, my friend told me about the network test for the new Monster Hunter Wilds, and then I tried giving that a shot because it's one of his favorite games. I think he's played like the past several ones like on the dot. So I was curious about it. There was no requirement or anything. You just had to download and just download and just start playing during the session. And I didn't want to spend a bunch of time on the character creation. I was kind of satisfied with just the default girl look, but then I got no curious of how much detail you could put on it, and I spent an hour on it. So
yeah, you can make some pretty cool looking characters, especially because half the fun of that game is all the cool armor customization you get. So,
Well, the problem was that I was good with the default character, and then it told me on the screen as there's like you can change the character as many times you want during the beta, but after it's closed and then you transfer your save over to the new one, it stays permanent. I was like, oh shit, now I actually gotta try.
Well, if they did what they did with Worlds, and they might make it permanent for a while, but then like after that they'll because in Worlds you have to buy a character voucher if you want to recustomize your character, which is like $5, I think. So they'll lynch you, but if they do, that's assuming they do the same thing with this one that they did with that one, and allowing you to even purchase the ticket to do that. So,
I'm not really sure if I'd actually buy the game. I'm more leaning towards Life of Pi. Life of Pi. Fucking got me with that.
Yeah.
Life of P because I knew it was a Souls game, but I didn't know. Haven't seen like any gameplay of it until they like released the in the state of play the Overture DLC, and I'm looking at it, I was like, this is much cooler than I actually thought it would be. So now I'm actually
Same
curious.
here.
So so it's like it releases in the summer, so it's like, oh shit, we're like at the end of winter, so now I gotta prepare, like play it during spring, just to be ready for it. Kind of like what I did with Elden Ring for the DLC. But for Monster Hunter, it was really nice looking. I was honestly surprised, and I see why people like it, but the problem is for me is just the combat is just pretty wonky and very slow.
It feels like all the game. I know what you're talking about because before I understood the combat, I felt the same exact way. I'm like, why the fuck does anyone like this? Well, maybe not that exact sentiment, but I was like, this feels wrong. When you understand it, it starts all clicking in your mind, and it starts honestly, once you understand it, it becomes one of the most like the flow of combat is really smooth. Once you understand how everything works and all the fucking controls and shit, like you'll get there. You will.
I mean, like the first fight, they immediately give you like the great sword. And I was just like, oh, I forgot about the comically absurdly large weapons that they carry. And it's just like, it was like the character movement just showed us like how heavy it was. It's like, why are you just get a smaller sword and you wouldn't have to struggle this much during the cutscene.
Well, the thing again, I the great sword is like one of my main weapons that I like using. My favorite's a sword and shield, but I mean that's the kind of the point of the game. The great sword is like that. You get like you'll get probably about the max of 3 swings on a downed creature typically, but obviously the great sword's trade-off is speed versus power, so you're going to be resheathing your weapon a lot, and one of your fastest attacks is just unsheathing your weapon for a quick slash with that weapon. So every weapon, I mean, just the depth of combat in Monster Hunter is so much fun, how different it is to use every weapon. So there are, like, if you use like the twin blades, you're going to have a lot faster type of gameplay, and obviously your gameplay really changes if you use like a ranged weapon. So
well, it was like during the cutscene, it was like you can even see the character in the cutscene struggling to carry that fucking thing. But like the first boss was like the first boss, it was a very buff frog. So it was like that shit took forever because that was a tutorial one. But the problem with it was it took me forever to beat that thing, even though it's a tutorial, is because it doesn't stop the gameplay to like teach you like, oh, these are the buttons, try it now. It's just like little pop-ups in the bottom corner. It's like, try this. It's like just telling you how to play the game, but it doesn't stay on screen. It goes away after a few seconds. It's like, I'm trying to survive this fight, and then you're also trying to teach me in like 5-second intervals different things. I'm like, I can't fucking do this. And it was just really close to dying multiple times as just to run away. But like after finally beating that boss, then you actually get to try and look at all the weapons, which there were a lot of. I have zero knowledge, and my friend explained like 0 sense of what any of the weapons really were. So I spent quite a long while with on that screen just picking and choosing. And I went with the charge blade, which is just like technically it's a sword and shield, but you can combine them and make a great axe. And later I found out that it's like a great axe, and then when you power it up, it turns into like a chainsaw blade at the end. It was like, damn, that's actually pretty cool. So I just stuck with it. And then I went through the entire tutorial. It took forever, and then I tried to fight a giant mammoth bear, I think it was. I'm not really sure what the actual name was called, but that's just what it looked like to me. And then the problem that was really annoying because it was what they called an alpha, so it had two smaller versions of it just following it around. And the problem with that is that when you get it down or you just spent enough time fighting it, it runs away. But it kept fucking running into the other small ones, so I had to fight 2 to 3 at all at once. So that was a really frustrating experience for me, but I'm assuming that's just normal.
Yeah, it's just some monsters have minions, some don't. That's as easy as that is.
Yeah, and I forgot what I played after that, but there was another demo for Elden Ring Night Rain, and I just playing that just got me in an Elden Ring mood. But I was like, I was very hyped for it, not really expecting like the whole experience that I did have. But before the session for the demo actually started, I looked up a video of people who did play it early, just so I'm not spending the whole 3-hour sessions that were available just like fucking around and trying to figure out how to play. So I just wanted to know beforehand, just so I could just get into the game immediately, knowing like all the basic stuff. And then I had a really fun time with it. I did die several times in the beginning. You can see from the video that we have on the YouTube channel. Sorry for the poor quality. I didn't have the settings correctly, but it like fixes itself later on for some reason. But like that, the whole thing about it is just like it's just a small open world map, familiar to just the regular Lands Between and Elden Ring, and the whole map is just a bunch of the familiar enemies from Elden Ring, just scattered everywhere. But also at the same time, there are mini bosses at the same time that you can just fight whenever you want. And then there's only one specific like type of event so far where it's just a giant purple ball, shadow ball that just appears in the sky and everything turns purple. And in that ball spawns a random mini boss or a random army of a specific type of enemy. So when I played once, I'm not sure if it was recorded. I don't think so. But the one that I did end up running into was just an army of the giant ants, and there were at least like 15 of them, which was just a ton to deal with. And then other times it was Margit. I think that's what his name was. The first boss you fight on the bridge that isn't the actual boss.
Yeah.
Marge.
Merge.
Yeah. Well, now that you made that joke, I was like, I guess it was Margit because everyone just makes that joke. And then it runs on a day and night cycle. So during the day, which I think is like 15 minutes, you just run around, and then after the 15 minutes, it gets dark. And then once it gets dark, which the ring just goes into the smallest circle that it is, then after that you just fight the boss. And when you fight the boss and you actually are able to defeat it, if you actually like prepared for it, then you get to go on to the second day, which is just the same thing all over again, but this time it's going to be a stronger boss, which really sucked in the demo because the second day boss was always the same one, which is just 3 tree sentinels on horseback, and they don't count as one enemy. When you get them to have health, the horse dies, but not the soldier. So it's like a 2-phase boss for each one, and it fucking sucked. It was very difficult. And then the third day isn't the same. It just goes to the immediate fight, which according to the notes, the third day is the last boss is dependent on which map you choose, which in the demo there was only one. So in the demo, it was always the 3-headed dog that separates into 1-headed dogs, which was really cool. And the thing that I forgot to mention is that while the mini bosses are tough during the daytime, it's very important to actually try and defeat them, either single-handedly or with other people. It's more beneficial to fight them with other people because every time you defeat a mini boss, they leave behind a grand soul, and then you can pick a buff, one for each person, and they are very beneficial as they can be for items or a specific weapon that helps your class specifically, or just like a buff to your stats in general. So it's just a really interesting concept, and it just got me in a really dark Elden Ring mood and Dark Souls mood in general, which is why I really want to play Life of P. God damn it, Lies of P. Fuck.
Lies of P. Pinocchio Simulator.
Different every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Night Rain. I don't even care for Souls-like games. Like when I first saw Night Rain, I was like, oh, whatever. But then I saw Iron Pineapple's like gameplay of it, and he's kind of like on the fence about it, more or less. He's like, there's good things about it, bad things about it.
Feelings for it.
I guess. I mean, I don't. To me, I'm just like, this is kind of what I want from Elden Ring. Cutting out all this nonsense and just letting me fight shit. Just let me do what these games do best and let me fight bosses. And now I can especially do it with other people. Because I've never thought the Souls games have been ever very strong at like really feeling like an RPG. So like just letting me play as like a preset character. I don't have to worry about the stats. Like it levels up you just hit level up. You don't pick anything. It just levels up for you and shit like that. That is like all right up my alley in turn. And I'm sure people are like, what? No, I it's like cutting out all that bullshit, just letting me fight stuff. That's what I like about it. That's like the strongest points about a Souls game for me, especially doing it with other people. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm actually can't wait for this to come out because it actually seems like something I'm going to play now.
Yeah, it's very streamlined just to like get straight back into the action. After each match that you do, the further you get into the actual match, which is all 3 days, you get back like a larger amount of a special currency, and you get a certain amount of like little relics that you can put on your characters just to make them buff from the very start and when you get in, and they're reusable. The currency that you get at the end, I have no idea what they're for because there wasn't like a shop to like use them for. You can only like gain more by selling your relics, so I'm not really sure what you buy with them. I'm assuming more relics, but I don't know. It could be like some cosmetic items. That's what people were hoping for. Is like at least some type of customization for your characters, even if it's just cosmetics, or it doesn't have to be beneficial. But I kind of hope they don't go the route where it's like you have to pay for like a new set of armor. I was like, that doesn't really do anything. But that's up to them. But I'm really looking forward to it. I was like trying not to play Elden Ring, just debating on getting Lies of P. And
well, if you get Game Pass, I mean, if you're ever on the fence about it, you get Lies of P with Game Pass. So.
Oh, you do? I was actually wondering about that.
I'm like 90. I might need a double check, but I'm 99% sure you do. At the very least, when I still had Game Pass, I'm pretty sure I still saw it on Game Pass. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm pretty sure it was on Game Pass.
I'll have to double check later. But after that, I just drowning myself in Dragon Quest 3 2D HD 2D remake, and because I just really like Dragon Quest 11, so I'm just like I just really like the Dragon Quest series all of a sudden.
I just decided I like the Dragon Quest series.
I was like, yeah, because I never really like heard anyone talk about it a lot, so it's just like it was just a curiosity for me. And then I think it was Corey who introduced me to Dragon Quest 11. I was like, man, I really like this. So I was like, well, I'm a fan now. I was like, it's really nice. I like the 3D to the 2D. I always like that about Octopath Traveler. So I was like, I have no problem it being in this game as well.
That. Yeah, I love that style of pixel art, but it's like 2.5D. I don't know, there's something about it looks so good to me.
Yeah. I was actually wondering. It's just like I don't know if I should wait for them to release. It still doesn't have a fucking release date, which is weird. But Dragon Quest 1 and 2, it's a dual pack. I was actually waiting for that before playing 3, and then after C, it was like, why did they release the third one first? I was like, oh, because it's technically in the timeline, it is the first one, which is really fucking weird. So I'm just playing the third one, and then when the other two have a release date, then I can plan on getting those as well. But I really enjoy it. I'm still remembering the issues that I had in Dragon Quest XI, that all the monsters look the fucking same, but they're all different colors, so they all have different resistance and strength. It's just really annoying. And then all the spells just have weird ass names, and it's just hard to tell what any of them really do and which one's the stronger one. I was like, it's not like as simple as like Kingdom Hearts, where it's just Fire, Fyra, and Fyrga. I'm not sure if it's the same for Final Fantasy, which I'm assuming that came from, but it's just like it's somewhat similar in this game, but it's just some weird ass names. I just don't understand it. It's pissing me off. But I was like, I just like use it and then just see. Like fucking some of them are really obvious regardless of how weird they are. It's just like, oh, what's this spell cure for a sleeping ally? I was like, oh, it's fucking cock-a-doodle-doo. That's what it is. That's like
that's a spell name. Are you shitting me?
No, that's the actual name. I was just like, well, it's pretty obvious what that does.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then for paralysis, it's just called tingle. It was like, really? That's what you wanted to go with?
I guess I didn't think about that, but I did find all the weird spell names when it was when you could play as hero in Smash Brothers, like Thwack. I don't understand why that's the insta-kill spell, is Thwack.
Yeah, some enemies really like to fucking spam that, and it's really fucking annoying, because like, oh, it works for you, but never for me, because I don't know what your weaknesses are. But it was like, obviously, it was like some things I was like, that's just my personal problem for this game, but I still like the game in its entirety. What really surprised me is like at the very start of the game is like you can just make your entire party whatever it is you want. There's like just you can create them, you can name them, you can customize them, and you can choose their class. And then later on, when they all hit level 20, you can change their class. I was like, that's a much more serious decision, but in the very beginning, you could just do it like straight up. But it's like it's very fun. It was very fun to do. It was very interesting. And then later, when I actually did change their classes, I fucked up, and then I'm very glad I had a backup save for it, because I save on a different file. And then I reverted that change, and then I continued onward, and then I did it correctly after I did a little research on it on the internet. But it's very cool. I do have some gripes with it. It's like some useless nonsense with those same classes. One, the hero can't change its class, which is okay. It's the hero class is just somewhat universal in some aspects, but it's kind of annoying that he's like almost always the weakest one. I was like, even for my character anyway, I was like, I'm struggling trying to keep him up with like the rest of his party. It's like, you're the leader, but you're the weakest, it kind of bothers me. And then there's two other classes. The merchant, which is fucking worthless until like a certain level, which is like the only useful thing he's good for. And then the other class, which doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna say the name, and it's just basically like a jester and clown class, which is just called a gadabout. I have no idea what that actually means. Yeah, gadabout. I don't know what that is, but based on like what the character looks like, for a guy, it's literally like a generic ass clown. And then for the girl, it's a bunny girl, which is the obvious choice of which one I picked for that one. But it was like they have useful abilities, rather weird than useful. But the problem is that for no fucking apparent reason, just to like double down on the clown aspect, they act like overleveled Pokemon, as they barely listen to you. So at the very start of the battle, they could just fall asleep for no apparent reason. Because it was like I literally can't fight high level bosses with you. I was like, why would I ever want you for late game if this is your shit? So it was like I just got whatever useful abilities out of that and just transferred them over to a different class. Because when you transfer a character over, then they revert back to level 1, but they keep all the abilities and spells that they learned from the previous one, which is interesting combinations that you can have with that. That's all that I've been playing this month. Is because I'm still trying to finish Dragon Quest 3. I'm like near the I'm at like what you would consider the post game. So I the quest that I told you to do at the beginning, I already did that. So I'm just gonna consider this the post game of the whole thing. So I'm almost done with it. Udon, I don't know if you can go with it, but if you because you're playing, so I don't know if you want to go next or if you want Jordan to go.
I can. I'm more than able to do it. Yeah, I mean, I can. I usually am playing stuff in the background every time we're doing this stuff, anyways. But yeah, I haven't been playing a whole heck of a lot. Mostly just work. Play Marvel Rivals when I get the chance. I was the one who brought up about doing more long play stuff on the channel because I've been wanting to play Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and wanting an excuse to do it, and and every time I do these things, I nuzlocke them anyways just to make the gameplay experience more interesting for me. So I've been recording that. I don't plan on like having that up until it's done one way or another. But aside from that, hasn't been a heck of a lot. I tried playing that Tomb Raider. I already said my piece on that, but that was terrible. I already said my piece on that. I might play that later, might not. I'm playing a lot of Story of Seasons because the one I've been playing is the Story of Seasons Wonderful Life. That was originally Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life on the GameCube, and that and Magical Melody are my two favorite Harvest Moons. I was kind of worried about this remake because the last one, the Mineral Town one, I didn't really care for. But this one, they really put their all into it. They literally kind of went like, all right, what's all the annoying shit about the original? Now let's like make some quality of life improvements, like menuing and just doing stuff. Like everything's just faster instead of feeling like I'm wasting my time. So that's really good about it. I like that a lot. And trying to play more Death Road to Key, just playing my Switch more often, I guess, more often than anything else. Because the only thing I'm playing on my Xbox is more Rivals and occasionally Fortnite when I see Corey and Angie are playing it, and I'll play that a little bit. Still playing Space Marine 2, because that's always just one that's easy to pick up when I just feel violent. Just slap on some Spotify music, and I'm just in the zone for a while. Still playing lots of Pokemon Go. Still playing. I mean, actually, that's probably what I've been playing most of my time is not Pokemon Go, but I'm playing a lot of my Fate Grand Order since I was finishing up a story quest on there, and then there was the Valentine's event and stuff like that. So I've been spending a lot of time on my phone actually. But quite frankly, other than that, I really have nothing too crazy to report. I haven't been doing a whole heck of a lot, and but yeah, that's about it. So if Jordan, you want to take it from there and just talk about what you've been doing, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I've got a lot. We're gonna go with the first one. I jumped on and tried to pick up an old game that I had played back in the day called Phantom Crash for Xbox. There was a lot of good feelings I used to have for it, and I was just like, might as well pick it back up and give it a shot and see where we're at. I don't know what was in my head. I think it had to have been something about doing probably the multiplayer, because I remember I was playing this with Corey, and it was really intense. There was a lot of cool things that was going on with it, and then I just tried to play it by myself to do just a single campaign kind of deal with the story. It was not that great. The amount of noise that comes in the battles, I understand it's like, oh, destruction, it's so cool, blowing up stuff here and there. There was a lot of squeaking and a lot of just noises that were just not needed to be in that, and it was funny to say it was like, it's 2031 is the future. I'm like, then we really need to work on the squeaking part of machines if this is what it's going to be, because it's super fucking annoying. So I did one round, and I was getting really just burnt out.
I mean, to be fair, Phantom Crash being like a mech battle game, like we're still early in, because what is that, original Xbox?
Yeah.
So like I mean, I don't know if there's a lot of things that we can kind of compare it to. excluding games from PC. But yeah, I mean, we used to play it a lot, and we were like, "This is so cool." But yeah, after watching you play it a little bit, it's like, well, maybe I've judged you too kind.
Yeah, and
I mean, I'll admit it. It's kind of cool. Like the frame rate's balls, but when I was watching you play it, and like the mech itself probably needs a look upgrade. But I mean, for an original Xbox game, it was pretty ambitious looking. I mean, it looked neat enough, I suppose.
It's a cool concept. I mean, there's a lot of mechanics that go on in it, but I mean, if you're not playing it against other people and just like the single player whatever you were doing yesterday, I could
horrible
see
AI,
yeah. And then I was sitting there because I was listening to you playing it, and I was like, "Is somebody honking a car?" And it was just the robot.
Yeah. Every time you went to go forward, it would just be like, bang! Just he kept. I was like, man, I want to put this shit on mute because I'm just going, and it's just like, okay, it only when you stop accelerating that it just turns off, and I just would rather just stay still just so it'd stop. But you know, for me to be just judging this game again, this is an Xbox game, so for me to be like, this game sucks. Well, the game it's old technology. Xbox just came out, you know, when this game was out there, so they're pretty sure that there was a lot of fixes that came around with the works after this game came out, and it was like, okay, we need to make some tweaks and stuff like that. If there's I don't even remember what the company was that made this game, so I don't even know if they're still around or they just made better games. I don't know, but I would assume that when they pushed this out, it was probably back then this was considered a doable type of game, and people probably enjoyed it. And then after newer games come out, they start to make tweaks and things that possibly could make it a little bit better, and then they build themselves a pretty good game in the future. So for me to just basically say this game's shit is kind of wrong for me to say, because I do see that it probably was pretty sick back then when it came out. You know, making all these noises and stuff to be introduced into video games was kind of a challenge, since they were trying to make really good graphics comparison to other consoles. So, you know, that was one that I played. And then after playing that, well, actually before that, I actually played a game with Edwin because we were both kind of hanging out, and we both jumped on to Left 4 Dead 2, played that some. That was kind of fun. We got to see what kind of mods that were available to us and got a couple of chuckles out of there. So, you know, when you got mods, you're not going to simply just stick with the normal character selection. You're going to go a little bit beyond and get some funny characters in it, because having serious ones kind of takes
porn.
away. There you go.
Just all porn.
There you go.
Not really. I didn't
Marcus
see that
Phoenix.
much porn on there.
Oh, please. If you were on Steam Workshop for more than like 5 seconds, you would see plenty.
I mean, I saw some weird choices, but not a lot that I would consider like pornographic. Maybe I just like actually skipped those because I kept finding like Sonic related ones.
I found one that the girl like barely could fit in her own clothes. It was just like she was filling them out pretty nicely.
There was one annoying thing. It's just like it was like even though like most of the ones that I picked were working, for some reason the ones for the tank weren't working at all, no matter what I did.
Well, I was telling everybody, I tried to do the Tyrannosaurus Rex one. I was really looking forward to that. It had like a huge following on it, and it had like high star ratings, so like it was the shit apparently. But I don't know if it might have been that it required a lot of things individually to make it work, and I might have been that if you try to have those other ones try to work alongside this, it just creates a conflict and it just doesn't allow it to work. So I'll probably try it again, but it might have to require me taking off all of the others that I had and just make it only about the T-Rex part, because I really want to fucking see that, because it's supposed to be a filler for the tank. So, like, when the tank happens, you're going to have this fucking giant Tyrannosaurus Rex just fucking yelling at you, coming to try and bite your head off. I'm like, that fucking looks awesome. So, I might give that a shot.
More than just a model switch.
Oh, yeah, no, there was a lot of things involved with it. I would just be assuming, like, you know, when the tank is trying to fit into these, like, tight spots, you can just see where there's, like, some issues with how they're trying to make that work, because he's really fucking big. So you try to make him fit into these small corridors and stuff, it just doesn't work so well. He kind of, like, glitches through, but with a T-Rex, he's going to be way taller, way longer. I really don't know how well that's going to work in a map if there's, like, you're in an office and then they usually, like, oh, it's a tank. How the fuck are they going to fit that thing in there? He's probably going to glitch the fuck out trying to fit through those small spots. And then I don't know if anybody else has picked up lately any of the Path of Exile 2. I actually got my old man to come by, and he was just like, he kind of reminded me. It was funny because he was just like, we were watching Skate and stuff with my daughter, and then all of a sudden he's just like, man, I have not played that one game we played in a while. And I was like, dude, that was last week. He's like, that's a long time. We should play it. And I was like, okay. So went over to my house, and then unfortunately there was some sort of weird hiccup that was going on with Path of Exile 2, and guys were just, my character and his character were just fucking just glitching all over the place. We just, 1 minute we're here, the next we're just all over the fucking place, just like flash stepping all over the place. And I was like, it was not really tolerable to be like dealing with it, but we were just, we got the game up, we're just gonna fucking hammer through it, and we did beat a boss. It was
Sounds like you were rubber banding, like your internet connection was screwing you over.
I really don't know, because it literally was just like everybody seemed to be running just fine when I was doing anything else, but when I came to that, and it might have been because I mean you're talking about trying to run a high graphics game with 2 characters and all this random shit happening, and if your internet's garbage, it's gonna probably give you some bullshit. So that could have been.
I mean, if you were on the same console, then that would have been fine. But
Yeah.
if you were separate, like the 3 of us were at one point, then it does that exact same thing.
Yeah, no, we were both on the same console, and it was just
that makes it weirder.
It was really hard to deal with, but again, we knocked out a boss, and then I kind of was like, I think I'm done. Are you? And he's like, I don't fucking know where I am. And just like his character's just all over the place. It's funny because when you like listen to someone like him playing, he just gets super frustrated, like super easy. It's just comical. You're just like, dude, chill. And he's just like, I can't fucking do this shit. He's just like getting so pissed off. Only thing I'm worried about is my TV and my controller, because I don't want him throwing it, any one of those, or breaking the TV. So I'm just monitoring him, making sure he's chill. And then after that, I did Asura's Wrath. That game, if anybody has not played it, it's a dope-ass game. It's one of those games that was really, no one really talked much, well, maybe they did, but I myself didn't really hear it unless I was in the crowd of friends that I had that were usually doing that. If I went to somewhere else, because I think this came out when I was in high school, I believe, and no one really talked about it at all. So it was like only when I was in my own field of friends that I actually was talking about it, because they obviously brought me into it, so we spoke about it quite freely, but just out in the open, didn't hear much. But it is such a fucking cool game. It's so crazy how far in they go with it being like closer to anime, with how things are just so sporadic, and just the amount of overdoing something with the intensity, and just the sheer amount of force and power that these monsters or these people do. Like, for instance, one of them, you fight a dude, he gets so pissed off, he becomes the size of a fucking planet, and then he's trying to crush you with one single finger, and you just see it coming down, and the main character is like trying to stop it with his own hands, and you're just like, what the fuck? It's so crazy.
I think that scene is just so intense, it's actually promotional.
Yeah, that's out of anything in the entire game, that's the scene that I see the most.
It's so cool though that that game is in our recommended games shorts list. It's already been out for a while, but yeah, it came out in early 2012, and it's such an awesome action game.
Yeah,
if you like action games, I highly recommend.
Yeah, because
it's crazy as hell.
It is, and it doesn't just stop there too. Because I know that your teacher that you're fight, he ends up, he basically loves to fight and everything. And his crazy ability is he has this like super extending sword that will literally cross you all the way. Because you fight him in Earth, you knock his ass all the way to the moon, and then you go and fight him on the moon, and then he knocks your ass back to Earth while he's stabbing you with the sword, and the sword is like the length between the moon and the Earth. And then by the time he's like stabbing you, the entire blade has already penetrated all the way through the other side of the planet. You're just like, what the fuck? It's like so crazy.
Yeah, that game is dialed to 11 all the way through.
Yeah,
And to be fair, it's a very similar story to God of War in general, where it's just all these people are dicking the one guy, and he's just like, I have had enough.
Yeah. Yeah, it does not stop. It just gets crazy and crazy, and they even had DLC, where you could have a fight with Akuma. And you actually could also fight, I believe it was Evil Ryu, too.
Yeah.
So like they had like these, because it was made by Capcom, so obviously they were going to put something in the works for that. But that was pretty cool how they made that all kind of work out. Did the same thing with Tekken, but I'm kind of getting off track with that. The next one, I'll be quick about this one. Tomb Raider. We all know what Tomb Raider is. That's just the game. I played that for a little bit. It's going to be a tough one for me. I'm not really sure I'm going to enjoy it too much, but it's going to be something I will try to work into my schedule to make that happen, because it's dry. If maybe for the PS2, I don't know about for the PS1, but PS2 wise, they did make some graphic changes. Gameplay seemed a little bit more easier, but there's just so much dead space where you're just waiting for something to just hurry up and be done because of the puzzles. And they just kind of overdo it to where I feel like I'm playing the fucking game Myst more than I'm playing an actual shooter or something. And I know that they incorporated in Tomb Raider was kind of like a mix of the platform shooting and then puzzles. So I kind of was getting myself ready for that one. And then my last one was Yakuza 0. I'm really more focused on trying to complete this game because I've actually already made some multiple purchases on some other game, on the other ones that came out. I got all of Yakuza 0 through 6, and now I'm trying to get onto the Like a Dragon, so I'm not into wanting to just immediately jump into the Like a Dragon, even though I really want to. It seems very comical, and I really think I'll love that game a lot. But before I do, I wanted to check to see the chronological order, how this is all supposed to be put in play, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to focus on 0 because that's how it says you should do it, and then just work up. And damn it, I'm really heartbroken because there was a game called, I think it was called Dead Souls, and it was a Yakuza zombie version that unfortunately I have not been able to find. I have been looking online though. I think it was $100 for that fucking game. So it is kind of expensive.
It's like the Undead, but for the Yakuza series. Trailer.
Yeah. For some reason, some weird reason, they did say it does play into the actual series, and they were like, I'm only assuring that if I was to miss it, it probably wouldn't lose. I wouldn't lose much on it, but they did say it did fall into it somehow with 1 and 2. So. If I don't get it, I'll probably move on. But the story is just so cool. I mean, right now I already gotten this whole point where you were breaking a deal with Yakuza. You already got out of Yakuza. They're trying to find you. All these clans are basically, they put you on a hit list. It's pretty much like John Wick. That your name is on a hit list, and they're sending all these fucking people to come and take you out. And eventually you have this huge realtor that actually, you find out there is a Chinese kind of Chinese Yakuza that's on a border that's working alongside with the Yakuza itself, the Japanese side. And they broke a deal to where they're basically on this side of the border and you're on that side, don't cross it kind of deal. So this guy knows, apparently the main character's something about it that you don't know yet, but he finds value in this guy. So he ends up breaking a deal where he's going to try and reach the highest level of Yakuza for that specific clan and try to basically buy him out. But if before you can even say, okay, well, are we good? He's like, we're good. I'm like, all right, that was pretty easy. And then, of course, you open the double doors, and there's a shitload of members right out there waiting for you with bats and tasers and knives and katanas and shit. And you're like, kind of figured that was not going to work out that way, so why not? It just goes crazy to beat him up, and you're just taking all these people to get out, and you finally got yourself told, and then now the other guy that's underneath the leader is saying, I'll make this work. They told us not to attack him anymore. He's off the list, but we'll figure out how to make this work. And you're like, oh shit, he knows something that the others don't apparently. So that's kind of where I got left off. And then there's always just some random shit here and there, fucking funny shit along with the serious stuff. So it just works hand in hand with each other that I really enjoy.
Would you ever watch Sakamoto Days? It's like a somewhat similar concept, but just like with a bit of comedy.
I mean, probably. Did anybody see the Yakuza on Amazon, that movie? Did you check that out?
Oh, no, I haven't watched it yet. I added it as the live action.
I haven't seen it. I was kind of hesitant about it because I'm just afraid that whether they did a good job or not, because kind of like the whole the fuck is that game? Fallout 4, Fallout the movie. You know, it was just like that was not apparently a lot of the people say it was good. A lot of people say it wasn't good. You know, I'm kind of scared of if they handle it well or if they kind of went to shit with it. I don't know. But that's
public will good. I'm gonna tell you it's bad.
Oh, gotcha. So I guess that was all I had. How about we just get into some topics? Rivals, layoffs. What do you guys think about that?
That was kind of
some fucking gaming journos have a goddamn vendetta.
Yeah, it was kind of silly. I mean, I initially saw a post about it, and I was like, "Dang, what is this?" Because that sounds kind of ridiculous for a game that's popular right now. And then you come to find out that it was 6 people that were on temporary contracts, and you know, it's one of those like our jobs here are done, fellas moment. But it blew it up because it's like these people. I think they closed their studio in Seattle area. But like NetEase has like 10,000 employees, and it's not that they closed down in any way. It's just those 6 people that were, I think, level design team or something like that. Like
it was a level leads, some R&D. Like it was just a little It was like important sounding titles, so everyone like was like jumping the gun of like they were firing all these important people.
Yeah, and I understand like the industry's layoffs have been like kind of like holy shit, like 10,000 people here, even though that would be a social media company.
But the game's been doing really well, hasn't? I mean, hasn't it? It's been doing
but it's kind of like, you know, if you have like somebody whose job is to make tool sets to set up all the levels, and they have created all of the tool sets for you to set up all the levels,
then they're no longer required
to have
right.
Their job is no longer needed, so they've fulfilled like, you know, their task, and now it's like time to move on. And that's not necessarily unusual in the industry. It's kind of disheartening, of course, because like if you're looking for stability, that is definitely something that I would not be staring at. I mean, the indie dev world is a lot more kind, I suppose, even though it is stressful because you're making the game yourself. But you know, it's a lot more hobbyists building things that could come like monster hits, you know, like Balatro and stuff like that. But like, you know, some of us in this group have gone to school video games, and they kind of, you know, as you're going through the programs, and then you keep seeing like studio closures and people getting massively laid off and things like that, and you're just like, is this really what I want to do? You know, I can't buy a house doing this. I can't support a family doing this. Like, it just seems kind of crazy. And some people make it work, you know, but a lot of the times when your job is no longer needed, because that is why this happens, they just go, we've done it, we've wrapped the game, so that team is out and trying to find jobs again until there's another project that picks back up. Because, you know, technically you don't need a character artist until you have characters to so
art.
You know, yeah, you know, it's like I understand the process. It's just
well, the thing is, like, I'm like 99% sure. I mean, it's part of the reason after going to school for it, didn't really want to get into the industry, because I wanted a more stable occupation. I didn't have to worry about where my next meal was coming from constantly if I wasn't like picked up by a studio permanently. But like most projects have temp workers a lot of the time, and I bet you anything we just don't hear about it, which is why I just feel like this whole thing has just been completely blown out of proportion by someone just has a fucking vendetta against Marvel Rivals for some reason. Because they're really, I guess they're big. Every gaming journalist was just a really big Overwatch fan, and they're all really big mad right now. So
yeah, I could see that. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, it is true. Probably just because, it's not a lie if you say the entire team of Seattle was laid off, but it is, you know,
6 people
misrepresenting the fact. Yeah, that it's like, you know, a team of people could be 2 people as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, that sucks, but you know, it is what it is. So it's, you know, way to throw shade at something that's gaining momentum. I understand that they might be upset about it, but I mean, that's the competition of games, I guess. So, you know,
I mean, this doesn't have the same impact of what was it? Xbox buying Blizzard and then laying off like hundreds of people
Yeah.
after the acquisition of Blizzard, and I'm just like, that's scummy. Like that's different.
Yeah.
But like this is like, I don't see anything wrong with this, typically speaking.
Yeah, I mean, Telltale also had a big incident way back in the day where, like, basically the entire team was just let go via email, and the
Yeah.
email was like, "You have 30 minutes to leave," kind of thing, and they're like, "What?" And I mean, it was like they still had people, like somebody, I think the earliest employee or that they had received had moved there and had been there for 2 weeks to just start a role, and it's like, you guys knew that you were going to close way before. Like, that's not like a surprise thing. But I mean, Telltale, to me, I think just bought up too many properties to rinse and repeat the same formula without changing enough to kind of justify what they were doing, because they were so excited about Walking Dead's reception that they kind of just were like, this and this and this and this, and then, it just, I can't buy all your games. You hired way too many people and you didn't improve upon the recipe that you set up yourself. So kind of inevitable.
How about some weird shit we got going on here? Call of Duty skin, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, fucking costing $90. What the fuck? What is going on with that?
Somewhat justifiable, considering if it's, is it just the skins, or is it like gun skins and like gun like keychains and things like that?
I don't know. Maybe I'll look up what exactly that costs, but my understanding, people complaining that $90 for skins, it's just kind of funny to say that phrasing, but $90 is steep for just 4 characters, but I mean, they can charge whatever they want. What was it, the infamous Skyrim horse thing? Or the
Well, that was like
Fallout?
that wasn't the pricing of that. The thing about the fucking horse armor was just the fact that it was a thing anyways, because it was like a nothing DLC. It's like, why are you even charging money? Because I think the money was only like $5-10. Even at $10, like, it's like the armor did basically nothing. Like it's memed on because of how just like dumb and useless it is as a DLC. Like the audacity to charge money for this.
That kind of reminds me of, like, this is going way back when, but I don't know if anybody remembers, like, the old iPhones when they were coming out. They had that one app, and it was just for like a fucking diamond or whatever, to have the app for this like specific diamond thing you could purchase. It was like $100 or $900 or some shit. It was some weird, like, kind of a flex kind of deal where you just bought something that was completely useless, but it was like, look, I have this, that means I have money, right? It's kind of weird shit like that where you're just like, you buying stuff to let people know that you actually got some cash or something, to makes you feel a little bit more highly than the other people because you're buying shit that's really, really fucking expensive.
I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was probably back early 2000s. There was like some sort of diamond thing that you could buy in the App Store.
Oh, was it for your iPhone? Yeah. Okay, I remember that. There was I think they sold like maybe 2 or whatever before they pulled it from the App Store, but you only needed to sell one thing because it was just it was like an animated background or whatever, but it was a prestigious thing.
It's
that
like $900 or something. I couldn't remember.
It was, I think it was $10,000.
Okay.
I think it was something like that, because it was one of those unregulated app stores with the new iPhones. Basically, like, it was no man's land at the time of apps, and so that came out. Somebody bought one, and then they were like, "Wait, we shouldn't let this happen." And I don't know why they shouldn't. I mean, if you're stupid enough to pay $10,000 for a fucking wallpaper, that's on you.
Yep.
I would say similar to, it might be frustrating because you want the Ninja Turtle. And there's a lot of other stuff that comes with it, like emotes and reticles and bullshit. But, I don't know. I don't know how much the Ninja Turtles bundle for, but I didn't see any like uprise about that. But it probably might have been like $20 or something. I don't know. They're typically not necessarily super expensive. Maybe 2,500 V-bucks, whatever that transfers into.
I had the same thought you did. It was like, it's 3,400 V-bucks, which I think is roughly
$40.
Well, $5,500 gift, $5,500 V-bucks is 32 American dollars when you're buying it, like the gift card.
Man, somebody knows exactly.
Unfortunately, I have some kids that really like those, and I end up having to go to the store for that shit. But yes.
At least the sentence finished instead of unfortunately I have kids. But the $90 for TMNT stuff, I think that's fine. I mean, like I've been saying it for a while, but I think Call of Duty should move to a free play platform anyways. And if they want to get properties, one, I kind of hate that they're doing it, even though like it's whatever they can, because Fortnite's ruining it for everybody. Pop culture skins, so everybody's doing it. I remember when PUBG started to do it. Like I logged in after a while and was like, "What the hell is all this goofy shit?" Because it was like more of a serious battle royale. But then it kind of just reminds me of the episode in Parks and Rec when they're selling like kale juice at the flea market and the old lady's trying to sell cabbage and nobody will go there because she doesn't have any dancers at her booth, so she like starts to unbutton her shirt to show some cleavage and they're like, no, don't do that. And so it's just like, look at us, we can be cool and hip, and it's like I don't care. That's not what I played Call of Duty, but I mean it's inevitable.
I mean, it's one of those things. Is it really even Fortnite's fault, or is the developer's fault for thinking that, like, oh, Fortnite's doing it, this is why they're successful?
Yeah,
first come, first serve. That's how business works.
I think it's just like, oh, damn it, Fortnite, you kind of set a tone. Then, like, the developers looking at Fortnite money and then going, like, we could do that too. And it's, just because they're doing it doesn't mean you have to do it. I understand you're in the business of making money, because if you weren't, then you wouldn't have a job. But... Right.
This is kind of like that.
Maybe there's other things to focus on than trying to add Ninja Turtles into Call of Duty. Because one, I would never play as one, as cool as it might be, because you're so out of place in a game where they try to shoot you in the head. That why, just like Nicki Minaj, I don't want a giant pink target for people to aim at. I'm going to pick whatever the character Godzilla that has dark camouflage. Like Fortnite makes a bunch of sense because everything's bright colors anyways, but like in a game where you're trying to hide and not be seen that much, it's like I don't want a big target that says shoot me here. So
sounds like a camper to me.
Well, it's called sniping.
I'm sorry, but that's what snipers do.
Yeah, what is this? The sniper's not sprinting around the map. No,
look at me, bang.
Unless you are Dinosaur doing that DNA. Because of the Omni movement and you're pro at it. Okay.
Yeah, hardly anyone camps anymore. Now it's just quick scoping with the most overpowered gun. So, but it's funny because in Fortnite they have like all these collab skins, and the one I use the most is like the original ones because they just look more neat. It's like, oh, I see this character everywhere. It's like I want to be something that's not everywhere, that is also neat.
Well, that's it. I mean, the Fortnite already start off being silly to begin with. I mean, so they kind of all fit in. Then it's like Call of Duty. This is kind of the old conversation we had before with the whole Godzilla deal. This is a serious gamer kind of gameplay format that people are wanting to play. The ones that are not too interested in video games, but this is as close as they're going to get, so they really want that real life experience. And then you're throwing in Ninja Turtles, Godzilla, Nicki Minaj, and they don't want that. You're going to lose them, and that's what your main people were for.
Yeah, I agree more with the game modes that they have, including the Godzilla and Kong thing. That was pretty cool, but like the skins is just like over the top. I was like, I would never pay money for that because, like Corey says, I also agree with it. Because they also have the Van Helsing, which is the same situation as Nicki Minaj, but it's like this really tall red creature just running around with a large cape. And then same with it's like
that fucking computer.
What Godzilla or something.
Sorry, my cat.
Listen to him, Edwin.
Get out from behind.
Do it, Edwin.
There's a whole fucking to lay on in here now.
I'm gonna plug all your cables. Meow, meow, meow.
I'm gonna put my cat on the mic. That video.
Go ahead, Edwin. Sorry.
You're talking about running around with a cape.
No, it's like because like one of the first skins that they put in Call of Duty when this whole shit started, it was Van Helsing, and it's just like this super tall character. It's just like a large red cape. I was like, I will always see you because like red is like the most noticeable color. And it's like and like all the dark gray and brown in the whole game. Same, but like obviously the pink is like obviously also noticeable, but it's like you're not helping by adding more of this. It's like literally the most beneficial skin you could use in Call of Duty is the one the game came with, the free basic one. That's the most useful skins you could be using in the game. It's just like I just find it so funny that they're charging $90 for this stuff.
You know what's funny? I mean, I haven't looked into it because I generally don't care. But what I found interesting is that Fortnite's cosmetics not only, I mean, they fit in because they're cartoony. Obviously, we already said that. But another thing that's funny about it is that, I mean, like with the Godzilla stuff, but also like how Overwatch is chasing this clout too, because they've had collabs with One Punch Man, Transformers, My Hero Academia, like shit like that. Fortnite, you just like their skins, quote unquote, but you're playing as that character. I'm not playing as a character dressed up as Hatsune Miku. I'm not playing as a character dressed up as fucking Rick Sanchez. I'm playing as Miku. I'm playing as Rick. I mean, hell, you're even playing as Godzilla. Whereas in, a comparison to Overwatch, when I can play as Midoriya or Ochako or All Might in Fortnite, which is funny because everyone just laughs and memes about it because it's like, haha, it's All Might running around with a gun, that's haha funny. But and then in Overwatch's case, it's like they're just ugly skins wrapped around a character that is not that character. So like Juno, the space chick, got like an Ochako skin. I think Reinhardt got an All Might skin, and it just doesn't look right. They're just playing. They're cosplaying as a character. You're not playing as the character, so it makes the skins. At least in my mind, it makes the skins in Fortnite a lot more desirable because you're playing as the character, not as like, in Call of Duty, you weren't playing as Godzilla. You're playing as like this weird military camo, quote unquote camo version of Godzilla instead of just playing as Godzilla running around with an assault rifle. So they're not as desirable cosmetic wise just because it's not how those games are designed to be.
Yeah, and also the fact that Fortnite also takes it a step higher, where there's like, oh, you can actually play as a giant Godzilla if you get this thing, or you can play as Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, or you can go get the abilities from My Hero Academia, or
I could
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, they had the Jujutsu Kaisen. You can just do the hollow purple and just blast your anime shit all over the fucking map.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That was very
fun.
satisfying.
Yes, I quite frankly, they haven't done that in a while, which is also why I think this season's kind of lame, because it's like, you have Sub-Zero hands. I'm like, unless you guys are going to go full Mortal Kombat to where I can have like Raiden and Scorpion shit later. Well, it's funny too. The backpack you have is fucking Sub-Zero in the battle pass is like a fucking frozen skull with a spinal cord sticking out of it. I'm like, Jesus. That's fucking morbid for this game. But unless they add more crazy stuff like that, I'm not going to be too crazy about it. Unless this season's kind of
I do appreciate Sub-Zero's friendship the snow cones. That's so funny.
That is funny. There's a few bright spots, but this season, I'm not too insanely crazy about. Miku was the only thing that I really cared about in the last 2 seasons.
All right. Well, let's jump on to some trivia. You guys ready for those?
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. Man, I am not happy when I get these. The first one is Elden Ring. So again, these names, I keep getting them wrong, but we will work around that.
Here we go.
All right, question number 1. In Elden Ring, which of the following conditions must be met to access the secret area, Consecrated Snowfield? Is it A, defeat Malenia, Blade of Miquella, and obtain her Haligtree secret medallion? Or is it B, collect both halves of the Haligtree secret medallion and use it as the Grand Lift of Rald? C, complete Rani the Witch's questline and obtain the Black Moon Talisman? Or D, defeat Mog, Lord of Blood, and interact with the Blood Flame Altar?
What was the initial question? Because that was a lot to take in.
I want to say B.
It was which of the following conditions must be met in order to access the secret area, Consecrated Snowfield?
I want to say B.
Yeah,
it's the medallions for the elevator, isn't it?
Because that's how you get.
Remember bypassing that.
That's how you get to the Haligtree.
Answer was B. Collect both halves of the Haligtree secret medallion and use it on the Grand Lift of Rald.
Yay!
Good.
Or you can do what I did and just go around. You don't have to do that if you don't want to.
Oh, there you go.
There's 2 lifts.
There's 2 lists. The Concentrated Snowfield is the one you have to use the elevator for. To get to the Atlas Plateau, you can go around that. You don't have to use the elevator.
The secret area to get to the tree and fight the sword bitch.
Oh, jeez. Question number 2. In Mortal Kombat 2, what must the player do to fight the secret opponent, Jade? Is it A, win match using only low kicks in the match before the question mark stage? B, win a match without blocking in the match before the question mark stage? C, perform a fatality on the pit stage and land on the spikes below? D, defeat Noob Saibot and perform a mercy in the next round?
Noob Saibot was all the way back in Mortal Kombat 2.
I'm going to say the first one, low kicks.
I'll say C. That sounds familiar.
I miss Jade. I don't think she's been in a game for like 3 iterations now.
Who said I miss Jade?
Yeah.
I miss Jade. Okay, well, the answer is going to be C. Perform a fatality on the pit stage.
Oh, man.
Yeah, all I remember is someone talking about that to unlock a different stage. I was like, I have no idea what you unlock.
Wait, Mortal Kombat 2 also required you couldn't just uppercut them off the bridge. You actually had to perform like a button combo. Because they also had the acid pit where you could knock the acid.
Okay.
Is it positioning?
Incorrect.
Something.
I made a boo-boo. The actual answer was B. Win a match without blocking in the match before the question mark stage.
No, my point is gone.
Yoinked. You got yoinked.
So.
Get over here.
Yeah, you asshole. All right, question 3. In Ghost of Tsushima, Udon, which armor set is best known for enhancing Jin's archery abilities? Is it A, Ronin attire, B, Gosaku's armor, C, Kensei armor, or D, Tadayori's armor?
I believe it's Tadayori's armor.
I want to say C.
I miss Jade. I'm just kidding. All right, answer is D, Tadayori's armor.
It's funny, I know that because I genuinely just never used it.
Yet you
don't really need to. Like
Is it
anything
because you hate arrows?
No, arrows are hilariously effective in that game. When you get to like the second half and you're fighting the Ronin, the Straw Hat guys. They're like way harder to fight than the normal Mongols, but then they're mortal like anyone else, so they'll run up to you with their swords drawn, and I'm just like, one arrow to your brain, and that's all I need to do to win. And they'll just run at you, and I just shoot them, headshot, bop. Like, you don't increasing your archery. I imagine it must be like completely overpowered in that game because by itself, without any upgrades, is already broken.
Just
For
do
the most part,
the sneak sniper in Skyrim, same situation.
Oh, sneaky sniper, fucking, I never used the sneak. That was one of my favorite things about the game. Is like you can sneak. And there are a couple really annoying missions where they force you to, but ultimately, I just walk into the camp, fucking katana out, being like, "Fight me." I don't fucking do this sneaking bullshit.
Anytime that there's arrows involved, I always am like, oh, thanks. This is going to be what I do all the time now.
I just always think of that video, that guy being juggled by being shot by arrows in the air.
Oh, yeah, when he jumped off the side or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we'll be wrapping it up. Be sure to follow us on Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube channel to be notified of new episodes. Hit us up with them 5 stars, and don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. And for all you gamers out there, just remember to keep exploring, keep playing,
Hey, this is Corey, and thanks for checking out Mediocre Rumble Brothers. If you liked the video, please drop a like, and if you didn't, that's fine too. If you'd like us to talk about any specific games, drop a comment below, or feel free to discuss your experience with the games that we've mentioned in the episode. You can also listen to our episodes prior to YouTube on our Spotify. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.